Jojo Siwa is being cooked for a new song, but there's much more to this rebrand than what you think. And that is a total obfuscation of all of the nasty things that happened under her watch while she was in the, quite frankly, terrible band XOMG Pop. So this pathetic attempt from transitioning from child-friendly cringe to an off-brand Miley Cyrus is not just a new phase, it's a total PR stunt. But what is this embarrassing rebrand and what exactly has she done? Let's talk about it. So hello everyone, welcome back, I'm Jake Baz, and today we're going to be turning our sights to see the newest potential brand risk, Jojo Siwa, and all the problems that she's caused. Surely you know her by now, but if you don't, she's a dance mum star who ended up being on the top of the list to influencer stardom. Known as the bratty girl with a bit of a point to prove, and also this really pink girly girl. She proved us right to be a bit of a brain sore with a load of shite music, and she really did blow the internet apart. She had commentary channels on strings for about 3 years, and about 1,000 brand collabs and quite a few Nickelodeon appearances. She's here now to rule the roost by copying Miley Cyrus and also still being a sore on the ears with her horrible vocals. I won't lie, I might be a bit biased. She's always been this happy-go-lucky girl, as I said, so what's changed about this? What's made her take this diversion down to fake Miley Cyrus stan? And well, I think honestly the issues around maltreatment, failed promises, underpayment and breaking labour laws is probably what did it, in the form of a Rolling Stones article around XOMG Pop which exposed the problems that were facing her. It seems that she treated a lot of her staff very wrong, and now rightly they're coming out with it. I will get onto that terrible notice and a lot more because I really genuinely believe that this is why she's done the rebrand. But first, let's have a look at the rebrand in the form of her TikToks, because she's been reinventing herself. So shall we see the downfall happen in front of our very eyes? But before you do, if you enjoy the video, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you're not. I'd love to see you back, and it helps her out a lot with the content that we're doing. So it all started with this video, me, because it's officially my last day of being a child star. So yeah, she seems to have changed tacks a little bit with the caption "see you soon." So yeah, she's rebranding, and this is conveniently on the 10th of the 3rd, so about 2 weeks ago. And to Jojo, it's not like the influence of stardom sort of fell away. As you can see here, 48 million views. She was banging views. This has never changed for her. She is always present, especially on TikTok. But this ended up being some sort of full rebrand. Oh, this full rebrand of Jojo Siwa, turning her from a child-friendly star into someone who's a little bit more than PG, you know. Why in 2024 can people just not say I've grown up? And it's obviously like a big brand rollout. So as you can see in this photo here, she flips us off. So thank you, Jojo. That's really kind of you. That actually looks nothing like her at all. And then followed by this very bad attempt of a warning sign, because it's cut off like half the stuff. If you're gonna do it, at least do it pretty well, Jojo. Come on. You've got a big brand team to sort you out. Saying that this following content is not made for children and may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers, may contain sexual themes, violence, strong language, traumatic scenarios, and flashing lights. Sounds to me just like the blurb of a horror film before it goes in. And I think we're going to see the horror here. She then also gasses it up like this statement is something that's so cool and different.
Warning, the following content is not made for children and may be disturbing or offensive to some viewers. May contain sexual themes, violence, strong language, dramatic scenarios, and flashing lights. Viewer discretion is advised.
She's really acting like a villain in like a really shit soap opera. Like, warning, might contain some swear words. She just sat back, you know, just fucking chilling. I don't think she read the memo. We then get brilliant videos like this, just promoting the fact, a little bit of silence around it. Oh, what might she do? And everyone tended to do the obvious thing of just guessing from what she said, and they were right. There's also this bit here where she's recording people with like a child's camera. Maybe a little bit of a flex. I wish I had one of them. I'd like to give some deep meaning to this like I was in an English class, but really I think she probably just was trying to make the point of, oh, I'm not a kid anymore, even though I still use kid stuff. Doesn't really make sense, does it? Then also making a point about how the fit is fitting. Yeah, it's very much fitting. It's a fit. Whether it's good or bad, you could be the judge. But really, just trying to look a bit like an off-brand Miley Cyrus. And I mean, this is the way we're going, as you know. Then trying to gas it up a bit more, you know.
What I truly enjoy about this comment is absolutely no one does. No one knows what's happening. No one knows what's going on. I do. I know what's happening. Nobody else. So fun to watch.
Not sure what her definition of fun is because I'm not having fun. And a lot of people were theorising around what this is going to be. What exactly is this shitty song going to be? I can't wait. And, well, we got the answer.
I was a bad girl. I did some bad things. I swear I did it all for fun and it meant nothing. It never happened. It was a secret.
You know, I take it back. She might be up there with the goats with like Eminem. She is a very true lyricist. But yeah, that's practically it for the song. The I was a bad girl. Yeah, you were. As we come to find out very shortly, you definitely were a bad girl, but not in the reasons that you want to be known for. I've just seen this on TikTok. What the is that car? I am not bragging about that. Imagine this is like the Lamborghini that she had in the start. Like, she's just wrapped it with her face. God, she's not up her own ass whatsoever, is she?
What just came in the mail? I could not be any more excited. I ordered all these. They're from the music visual shoot.
Yeah, she's definitely not up her own ass whatsoever. And yeah, we got a new song coming out in April the 5th called Karma, which is very befitting considering what we're going to go down next. But yeah, the internet quite frankly cooked her for this entire thing, these entire songs that she's doing, all the promotion, because, I mean, it's cringe, innit? Like, it is cringe. You can't get around that fact. And it does kind of scare me a little with, like, the little tier one that came out a while ago as well. The fact that people can just get so much money to a point where they can have these big producers and bring loads of big tracks out where they're just shockingly shit. Like, I know the state of music has turned quite sour in the past couple of years with the invention of TikTok and everything coming around, but come on, let's be a little bit more inventive than I've been a bad girl and there's bad things. And one of the examples of her being cooked could potentially be from one of the scariest sources on the internet, Tana Mongeau.
I was a bad girl. I'm doing bad things. You think she's ever taken like a 30 and like cussed somebody out?
Brilliant insight, Tana. Very, very good. But that does hinge around the entire point of, like, she's just rebranded herself. She's just popped herself out because 1 second she was this child-friendly creator and now she's a bad girl and she's done bad things. And I think the entire thing has been shrouded around the idea that there has been a very big little problem. And it's a little problem because it's something that has kind of been swept under the rug. And the intention with all of this, in my opinion, this rebrand, is to sweep that under the rug. But it's also a very big and serious issue around how she treated ex-OMG Pop around the years that she was in this band together with them. Jojo Siwa promised them pop stardom. They say they were thrown in the trash. This was released just over a month ago on the Rolling Stone, and it shows a lot of the problems that were going on within this band group. If you don't remember ex-OMG Pop, because, I mean, unless you were a 10-year-old girl, you probably had it slip under the radar just a tiny bit. They were this band, this group that were created by Jojo Siwa, and they went on tours and they had brilliant times together. But it turns out that it's not actual brilliant times, and Jojo Siwa has actually mistreated a lot of the band members around the entire situation for multiple years. And in case you missed it, we're going to go through it now because it highlights a lot of the stuff that you can see, and we can make comparisons because we can see exactly why she's doing what she's doing. And this article details a lot of the problems that were going around, and really it all stems from the idea that there used to be 7 members and now there's only 3. And this document mainly handles around Leah Sanderson and her experiences, and is one of the founding members of this pop group. Initially coming up on Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, which, as you can imagine, is around Jojo Siwa's Dance Pop Revolution, which it really has revolutionized a lot on it, considering how well it's going now. To be fair, she has revolutionized the way that I listen to her music by turning my earphones off. And the article even starts to preempt the idea that Jojo Siwa is turning into a more mature creator. On social media, she appears to be entering more of a mature phase of her career, garnering tabloid attention with her relationships with influencer exes Avery Cyrus and Kylie Fruit, debuting a more monochromatic, punk-influenced aesthetic. Once again, never been done before. I mean, Miley Cyrus, yeah, never been done before. Which actually is preempted here by her mum saying that she's trying to get the next Hannah Montana. So really, maybe I'm wrong and they're not going down this wrong career path. It is potentially just the fact that she's just following the influence. She's just doing it 5 years later. And as stated, Leia suffers with spina bifida, which is like a very bad condition that causes like your spine to be slightly curved. And there's varying stages of it. And well, this can obviously affect the way you perform and the way that you act. And obviously being a dancer, Leia, is like, it's obviously going to bring a lot of problems to the fore, like with the ability and mobility of someone to be able to performative dance. And obviously this should be tempered and looked after, but as we can see from this article, it doesn't end that way. First example is here with the Sandersons, as well as multiple sources close to production alleged that Siwa subjected the children to grueling rehearsals, sometimes forgoing school breaks with meagre compensation. And that does sort of suggest that not only they were not getting looked after very well, but they also weren't getting paid well, and you can see this dotted throughout the entire document. With one of the craziest bits here in that they allege Sanderson was forced to work under intense physical duress, with Jessalyn, Jojo's mum, encouraging her to attend video shoots just a few weeks after she underwent spinal cord surgery. Obviously for anyone, that is something that is very weird to be doing, especially because you are a dancer. You are performative dancing. It's a very physical thing. So if you've had something happen such as spinal cord surgery, which is very, very delicate and very, very hard to come back to, having to go to photo shoots, which is about like people obviously getting dressed up, standing up for a long time, when you've had something so serious, is actually astounding to me. It's very crazy, especially the fact that it's a child. Like, if it was anyone, it's bad, but with children, that's even worse. Which in one instance, the family describe it as, just days before the surgery, they alleged Leia started bleeding through her belly button during a rehearsal for a performance at the Children's and Family Emmys. Rather than encourage her to take a break, the Sandersons said, Jessalyn put a maxi pad on it so it wouldn't leak on her costume. And I don't need to tell you how insane that is. That's just terrible. Like, it really is. And I think as well, it's a little bit of a two-pronged thing here, because I don't really understand why the parents are putting the child through that stress, full stop. Maybe to positively impact her career in the future. But then why are they working her really hard to the point that she's having issues like this on set, and instead of actually helping the person, just trying to pad over it and ignore it and get on with it? That to me is just disgusting. And the fact is that happened under Jojo's watch, whether she likes it or not. Even though she was a younger star, she is still the star there. And her mum is like the big orchestrator of all of these problems that are going on. So the fact that this happened, that's just insane to me, especially when they're in the public light. Then mentioning that Angie and Leia Sanderson are speaking out, and they alleged that Jessalyn was overly cruel to the young charges, calling them names and even in one instance shaming them for a disability. And Jojo, meanwhile, could also be nasty and domineering, according to sources, a sharp contrast from her upbeat on-screen persona. And I mean, I'm not going to say that this wasn't expected in some way, shape or form. Like, the way that she presents herself as like this squeaky clean image, well, you realise when people get older that's probably not it. It's probably just a spoilt child that has a lot of money and can do anything and has done anything that they want to do in their life and has 5,000 million brand deals. Just expressing their power a little bit over people. Maybe a little bit of a power trip, because she's the star of OMG Pop. She's the face. So she's gonna act like it, ain't she? At one point, they allege she screamed insults at the girls during a performance. They also allege that she played a role in helping to build a cutthroat environment long after the cameras were gone, playing favourites and pitting members against each other. And that, as I state, is the public announcement of, yeah, that is just a spoilt brat that has a point to prove, or wants to prove a point. Jojo is the creator of this mad orchestration that's going on, and if anyone else tries to get in the way, that's gonna turn out wrong in it. With the Rolling Stone talking to multiple people who are involved in the production of XOMG Pop and the Dance Revolution, alleging that sources said that Siwa and the producers dangled carrots of stardom in front of the young XOMG Pop members, only to berate them and encourage them to cry on camera. The mums and kids would come home and have a candy basket and a Nintendo Switch in their hotel room after being messed with all day. The highs were high and the lows were low. The highs were definitely definitely high and the lows were definitely low from the sounds of things. And I mean, this is just very stereotypical, like I say, about a woman who has a point to prove at this point. And this is what I mean in that this is a total obfuscation. The fact that this has happened and then 1 month later she does a total rebrand of being this new person that's done some bad things. Yeah, I'm almost certain that that is connected. And if that isn't connected somewhat, I'll eat my shorts. And this is obviously totally ignored by their attorney, Brian Friedman, saying the abuse came from Angie. These allegations are 100% provably false. Voluminous and irrefutable evidence will tell you all you need to know, that this disgruntled manager's own abusive behaviour caused her daughter to be asked not to return to the group. Which can potentially turn this into a he said, she said sort of moment. But we really need to think about this as well, because this is on the Rolling Stone. This is a big establishment. And not only that, we're in America where you can look at someone the wrong way and you'll get sued. So if they're coming out with stuff like this and there's been no like lawsuits or anything like that for like damages or harms, it tells you that probably there's at least a crumb of truth to some of the stuff that's in here. And there is a lot of backlash, as you can see here, around the responses from people actually still in XOMG Pop now. One of the examples is, since we have joined, we have only had an amazing experience and positive experience. I find it very hard to believe the Siwas could have done anything wrong. But I mean, come on people, they're obviously going to say that they're financially benefiting throughout the entire thing. There's no way that they wouldn't. And we also need to remember that these are probably just random new members, like these people. So they haven't seen it from the ground up. They haven't seen all of the toxic culture that could have potentially come in before it managed to get treated when everyone left. And you can see that this happened from the start of their show Dance Pop Revolution here. The production team has sold Dance Pop Revolution as being a kinder, gentler version of Dance Mums, with that Jess and Jojo went down through Dance Mums. We thought they wouldn't want to do anything that would make a child feel a certain way or paint them in a certain light. Painting it as a reality sort of style show as opposed to an actual competition, which really does raise some concerns as to why were you making it like that. It seems that Jojo and her mum from the start were selling this as some sort of like dream to kids, that you need to be spoon-fed this to become superstars. When in reality it turned into a big competition to see who's got the biggest piece. And this idea of pitting them together, it gets worse. The girls who were cut from the show will be asked by producers to look in the mirror, watching themselves become visibly upset during their exit interviews. According to one of the sources close to production, an adage among some of the producers on set was, "It's not a good day unless you make a kid cry." That just paints once again that it's either Hollywood or Jojo Siwa and the mum that are allowing something like this to happen. And this sort of toxic work culture you can see around loads of different places, around anywhere and any industry in the world. But especially when Jojo Siwa was this child star herself. She came up. Surely she would understand, and so would her mum, that if you bring people up in this way, you've got to do it a certain way. And that includes not making children cry all the time because you've pitted them up against each other. And trying to promote this massive idea, this reality show, just for the fact of trying to create drama and problems. And that doesn't sit right with me when they are literally children. And it does very much seem like this spoiled brat nature just continues through. And you can see that with her now, with this new representation of her. She's just rebranded herself, and look at me, I'm new me, and I'm gonna get millions of followers and views. She's realistically, in many years, not had it tough at all. And the fact that this stuff is coming out now, that potentially she has mistreated many people over the years, it's very on brand. With Angie saying that the environment was one of contestant fears. You kind of taught from the beginning that you need to act grateful and thankful at all the times, and Jojo and Jess for every little thing. They would say, look, we make your kids a star, look at the opportunities we're giving you. Jojo's mum apparently being verbally abusive during rehearsals, berating a contestant with hypotonia, a disorder that causes a low muscle tone, and mocking her for being unable to move her arms and legs. She also allegedly made fun of her speech, at one point mimicking her. Constantly just bringing this dirty, toxic culture to the fore, which when you remind yourself that this is literal children that are trying to look up to Jojo Siwa, like, for example, this Leia Sanderson, she was actually a fan of Jojo at the start before anything had happened. It's really damning, and the fact that they didn't comment about it, even more damning, and the fact that she's doing this rebrand a month after, even more damning. The Sandersons allege, and another source close to the situation confirms, they largely had to pay out of pocket for food and transportation, often without being reimbursed. They were not paid for individual music video, photo, or social media content shoots. Which, when obviously you're under the brand of Jojo Siwa and her mum, doing something like this, being tight and frugal with it, it's crazy, considering the amount of money that they're making. And especially when the only person that is doing this stuff is the child. Like, why aren't they being benefited for it? Like, why is Jojo the only person to benefit from this entire situation? And just because this isn't against the law, like, to the word, it doesn't mean that it's morally acceptable or right, does it? This pattern seems to go continuously on and on. The girls were promised $10,000 upon recording their first album, yet the Sandersons only received a little more than $4,000 because Jess said that she had to pay for the Airbnb that they would stay in. Which, I mean, surely you'd think they'd reimburse. But then also, why they're paying $4,000 for an Airbnb? But it must have been for a while. Which, with excerpts such as the fact that they had a OMG pop group palace where they provided all of the content together, and it didn't actually sleep anyone in there, so all the kids had to move about. Despite the fact they're from all the corners of the US, they had to move about and just try and live where they could. And with Sanderson saying, you have to understand the atmosphere, you're not allowed to say anything, you can't question anything, you're living in fear that you're going to cost your child their opportunity. They'll get fired, or we're going to have to get a lawyer. And none of us had money. Sounds like somewhat of a financial coercion, which, once again, considering Jojo Siwa's content, how big she is, how much money she will be making, the fact that she's probably in the 6-7 figure point at this point per year, it really does tell you that this is quite a crazy environment, and this is definitely something that she would want to sweep under the rug if it ever came out, wouldn't she? Remember that this whole rebrand kind of started literally within weeks of this document, within weeks of people talking about it, so it really does seem tactically dropped on us, doesn't it? With them further breaking California labor laws by saying that Leia would only sporadically do schoolwork and logging in 6.6 hours of class time the entire calendar month of December 2022. Then leading, even when the band did stop doing stuff together, the competitive aspect didn't change. The girls were promised a $500 prize if their TikTok got the most views in a given week. Everyone was pitted against each other the entire time. There was still a divide. With Leia also alleging that Jojo would often encourage the girls to compare themselves to each other, breeding an atmosphere of constant contention and presenting a stark contrast to her sunny public persona. Because, you know, a couple of headbands makes everything better. But the more that you read into this and the more that you look at the stuff, you realise that this is definitely just 110% all tactical. With the lawyer statement at the end suggesting that Jess Siwa was protecting the staff, and the fact that the mum in this instance was relentlessly texting, begging for forgiveness and for her daughter to be reinstated, completely discredits her and her ridiculous allegations. Which, on the face of it, I totally disagree with. The fact that her mum wanted reinstating into a pop group where her daughter, despite everything else, was getting a lot of money and a lot of notoriety towards it, even if it wasn't too financially viable, the fact that it brings this superstardom fame to her, it's obviously going to be something that she wants to get back into. And if Jojo and her mum have created a toxic environment where things can't be said, maybe she did say one thing, like she states in the document, and then she was totally dismissed, and you're going to be apologetic for it because you've lost your daughter's chance to superstardom, to continue to go on this trajectory upwards. So obviously she's going to beg for forgiveness, and obviously she's going to ask to be reinstated, because by her speaking out on the problems that were being caused in this group, the fact that that happened doesn't discredit anything of what she said. And the fact that there's multiple people who have also come out and said that this is potentially something that did happen, and there were certain things that definitely did happen, and it seems to be a very toxic culture, that really just totally disintegrates what the lawyer's saying. What's he chatting? But obviously something like this is probably going to be proven in court. But linking this back to the brand image, her brand image has been hurt. The fact that, she's not this innocent girl. She has a couple of problems. She's sort of seen that, and I think she's just roll with it, if I'm honest, by pushing out this new stuff and this new style. Oh, look at me, I'm a little bit gothish, shut up. And then as you can see in this photo here where she's on set, literally on set for a new music video with the one, the only James Charles. It shows you the kind of people that she's either hanging around with still or is getting close to and knows about a bit of crisis management. I mean, what has James Charles done? Or maybe he's had multiple instances of messaging people under 18 in these bad environments. Which, by the way, the fact that they've been together and friends for years is really, really weird to me considering the situation. It don't matter whether he likes women or not. That's still a weird situation. Yeah, she's clearly getting some brilliant advice from someone who can definitely manage the fact that they've had something really bad happen in their career and they've gotten over it. Probably getting a few, notes. For a couple of post-it notes stuck on the monitor so she can look back and reflect. And if there's something that James Charles knows from the amount of apologies that he's done is that if you bury it and you just keep on going, when you're at a certain size on social media, you can almost always get past it. I mean, just look at Shane Dawson. Look at his latest documentary. It's got millions of views and he did quite a few weird things with his cats, did he? Do you remember? So, when you see Jojo Siwa in these sort of outfits trying to re-envision herself as a new creator that's totally different to anything else before that she's ever done, by looking like a bit of a weirdo, you can only really think one thing. The fact that she is literally trying to obfuscate something that has happened a month ago, sweep it under the rug and try and push out with a new brand that everyone could be, oh, look at my shiny new toy. Because it's not only that, her entire image has been cradled around this innocence, and this innocence has been fully shattered by this article, so she has to try and pull a way out. Maybe it's something that she's been planning to do for a while. I mean, for obvious reasons, you're never going to be a child content creator in the way that she was for so many years to come. Like, you just age and then you become less relevant to them kids. And obviously her parents are going to be really good at managing a person online. Like, obviously that's the case. With how big that she's become and how much of a superstar she's become, everyone is in the family is going to understand what to do in these sort of crisis situations. They'll probably add a couple of courses on it. So you can't tell me that literally doing something like this within 2 weeks, 2 weeks of the article, there is no way that this isn't coerced in some way, shape or form for her to get these new tattoos. Which, bear in mind, look at our friend that's shown up, our old friend Shane Dawson. And just a side note, I got put on Inaba's Instagram a couple of years back when I went on holiday with him, and Shane Dawson liked that too, so we got something in common. Mind you, that was before all of this shit came out about him. So this entire thing that's going on with her losing the plot, I think, on social media, trying to rebrand herself, it is totally, like, coerced. And also the stuff that I've heard in the article, obviously, it's very bad. It's disgusting. There's a lot of problems there that need to be addressed in a law of court, really, I think. But it depends how this is going to go. I don't really know the fallout of this. The family have come out, obviously, and said these things, but until it actually gets put into action, it's just going to be allegations at the end of the day. But mainly, I want to know what you lot think in the comments. Do you think this entire, like, rebrand is coerced, or do you think it's just something that she's just done on a whim in a coincidental manner? As always, if you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like and sub, especially if you want to see more stuff like this. And I've been Jake Bars, and I'll see you later. Take care.